You've worked hard to build a dream retirement. Now it's time to put that plan into action. This is Retire ATL with Aaron Vincent and Matt Decker. The team at Vincent Financial wants to help you build, protect, and grow income to get you to and through retirement. Now, Retire ATL with Aaron Vincent and Matt Decker.
This is the Retire ATL podcast, all powered by the Vincent Financial Group. You can get more when you visit retireatlradio.com. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. Now, let's get to the show.
My name is Mark Owens, and Matthew Decker here holding it down this weekend. And Brandon's our producer. We reference him a lot here on Retire ATL. How about some of the team members at the Vincent Financial Group? Who are some of the people that we're going to meet? If we reach out this weekend and we schedule that consultation, we may get a phone call back. Who are we going to talk to?
Yeah, which you absolutely should do, especially this time of the year.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to get in touch with, well, there's a bunch of people. You might talk with Craig. Mm-hmm. You might talk with Aaron Dixon. You might talk with Brady Watkins, you might talk with Drew, and then you'll probably see Aaron and I. So there's a bunch of people in the office. It just kind of depends, especially this time of the year.
Yeah.
You know, people are in and out and family stuff going on. And so you'll definitely talk with one of us. No matter who you talk to, we are solely focused on making sure that you guys are taken care of well.
And not to mention locally based as well.
That's right. We're all here locally. Hiring is actually the hardest part of our job. Finding people that fit our culture, that have the right ethos. So we take that really seriously.
Live here, work here, play here,
That's
understand the economy of Metro Atlanta and the great state of Georgia as well. So retireatlradio.com to meet the entire team and schedule that initial no cost, no obligation consultation. You just mentioned it this time of the year. Man, we're in it, the holidays.
It's the best time.
Do we get complacent, we as adults, because we think about it, Thanksgiving's going to be here, and before you know it, Christmas is going to be here. We're flipping the calendar to a new year. Yeah, I'll put off all the, worried about my 401k and worried about my savings. I'll put that off until the beginning of next year. Are we complacent? Are there things we should be doing before the end of this year?
Oh, I don't want to put complacency on anybody out there, especially this time of the year, because there's just so much that goes on.
Yep.
Especially if you have kids and, you got family in town or even out of town. I guess that could be worse. You got family out of town and you got to travel and all that.
My daughter's in band and chorus and church choir. My goodness, we have a performance.
Isn't it great?
We have
all the performances.
God, it's exhausting. I'm so tired. I'm sorry, go ahead.
They do a great job, though.
They do fantastic. I'm proud of you, baby. Keep it up. You're doing great, but Daddy's so tired. Sorry.
I don't want to put complacency on anybody, but I will say this, a little bit of peek behind the curtain. So I think if I look back the last 4 years and you look at October, November, December, and January, those 4 months, every single year for the last 4 years, make up half of the meetings that we do for the whole year, which it's not that far off of, 6 months, but we're cramming half of the year's work in, let's call it 3.5 months.
Yeah.
And so we're as busy as we will ever be right now, this time of the year. And I think it's because it's hard to make financial decisions over the summer. Mm-hmm. I don't know why that is. Mm-hmm. I wish that it wasn't so, because it would make our work-life balance a little bit better. Mm-hmm. But we've just seen over the years, and all of our friends in this industry would tell you the same thing. People do not like to make financial decisions over the summer. I think are
we mentally trained that summertime is happy and vacations and it's just too hot and our brain is going slow?
It could be. Could just be that, kids are out of school and you're thinking about vacation and you're just thinking about, if you're in Atlanta, you're thinking about surviving the heat. And you're like, I don't want to get in the car any more than I have to, because every time I get in there, I start sweating. Yep. And, you don't want to do that. So I get it. But this is the busiest time of the year for us. And I would say, again, that complacency word, I would say take action. Yeah. If you got a sinking suspicion that there's something that maybe you need to take a look at, I would say, don't wait. Mm-hmm. Take a look at it right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it may be, but if you know in your gut there's some financial issue that's out there lingering, it's in the back of your mind, it's kind of gnawing at you, take action, do something about it.
Procrastination. We procrastinate so much. You just said it. Right now we're in the holidays. I can come up with a million excuses.
Oh, yeah.
To not make the call. To not reach out at retireatlradio.com right now. And then you just said it, summertime. I can think of another million. It's hot. Yep. The kids are out of school.
Oh, yeah.
I got baseball games to go to. I got to get frustrated by the Braves.
Listen, I get it.
Procrastination, how much damage can that do?
It can do a ton of damage. My son was working on a school project last night and he was freaking out. And I'm like, hey, Vincent, what's up? He's like, I got this school project. I'm like, what do you got to do? He's like, I got to do a 3D model of a cell. I'm like, all right, that sounds kind of cool. He's like, no, it's not cool because it's due tomorrow and I haven't started. I'm like, oh.
Yes, sir.
I know what that feels like. Well, hey, man, good luck. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, send me a picture when you get down.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see
Let me
it.
know how it turns out. I'm really interested to see what your 3D model looks like.
So what would you tell people right now? What do we need to get done before the end of the year? Or maybe even if it's just a second opinion. Because if you think about it, Matt Decker, how many people at the beginning of 2025, they said, one of my resolutions for this year, I've been working with a big box firm.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for me to get a second opinion. You still have time to
It's time
check
for me
that
to call
goal.
Vincent Financial.
You can still check off that New Year's resolution.
It's time for me to go to retireatlradio.com. I'm going to do it in 2025, and you haven't done it yet.
You got time.
You still got time. You still got time to go to retireatlradio.com and book that discovery call. You don't have to wait till 2026. It's true. You don't have to. I can't tell you exactly what you should be looking at, but I do have some personal experience from things that haven't gone well this year.
Okay.
And so maybe I'll just share that, and it might kick off some, alarm bells in your head if you're listening. The number one thing, if I'm in your shoes, that I would start looking at, if you're approaching retirement. So if you're in the retirement window, let's say you're over the age of, 55 for sure. If you have not yet planned for yours, your parents, or a loved one's long-term care expense, you absolutely need to get on that as soon as possible. That's not like an end-of-the-year deadline type of thing. Like there's nothing that happens in 2026 that means you need to do it now. But I'm just here to tell you from personal experience, this year has been an extremely difficult year to get people qualified for long-term care type policies. We've had more declines this year for random things. You know what I think it is, Mark? Actually, this is wild. I think it's pickleball. I know that. Yeah, I know. I think it's pickleball.
You have my attention.
I think we've got all these people who are pre-retirees and retirees. My parents are one of them. My parents love pickleball. They play a ton of pickleball up in Big Canoe. But there's all these people that are at the age where they need to start looking at long-term care. They're all playing pickleball and they're having like shoulder injuries. They're having knee injuries. They're having hip injuries. They're having back problems. And then you start going to see people for those problems. And then now all of a sudden you have a chart that says shoulder pain, knee pain, back pain, hip pain, or God forbid, maybe you tore something. We've had a bunch of people that have had shoulder surgeries this year. I don't know if it's from golf, but I suspect it's actually pickleball. I know that sounds crazy, but like my mom is super competitive. She's the most competitive person I know. And it's where I get a lot of my competitiveness.
Yeah.
Gosh, Terry Decker, love you. You're the most competitive person I know.
She will throw her back out to get that point.
She's been known up in Big Canoe to like dive to save a point in pickleball in like the senior league. And it's like, Mom, what are you doing? Just let that point go.
Talking.
This is warm-ups. What are you doing? It's not even a tournament. There's no money on the line and you're diving.
You're so bad AARP doesn't even want you.
Exactly. No, I think that, people are getting more active, which is great. And also, if you've got nagging injuries and you all of a sudden start getting active again and you flare those things up, now's the time. If you haven't planned for your long-term care expense, you need to look into it. It could be for you, could be for your spouse. It could be that you have a brother or sister who you just kind of know, like their health is going in a direction and we need to get this box checked now before it's too late and we can't get it.
Right.
Or you might be talking about a parent. We've had clients that are paying $10,000 a month for memory care for their parents. These types of things are unplanned for expenses that don't need to be unplanned for.
Right.
We can actually do some things to set you up for success in that area. But if you don't have a plan, it's also the thing that can absolutely wreck any retirement plan. The average long-term care cost right now today, it's going to play out between 4 and 6 years. It's a couple years of home health care where you're just having trouble, but you're still at home.
Yeah.
And you might need to hire some help just to help you out around the house. 2 years of home health care is the average. Then you go into like an assisted living type facility where, it's not full-time care, but you're in an assisted living program. That's, 1 to 2 years. And then it's like end stage life nursing care where it's 24-hour care, like intensive care. You need help. Mm. It's a 4 to 6 year period. Average costs right now over $400,000. Over $400,000, and it's inflating at double the inflation rate. So if you're worried about inflation, which most people are, right? You see the price of gas, you see the price of eggs. If you're worried about inflation and you haven't planned for long-term care, I've got news for you. The long-term care expense is inflating at twice the rate of your egg purchase, of your gasoline, of your housing costs. It's like between a 5 and a 7% increase every single year. It's wild.
And most people don't want to talk about long-term care.
Of course.
Because it's not fun.
It's not fun at all.
Because you don't want to think about the end of life.
Nope. But here's the deal. And I mean this, like, please hear us today. This is important. You really do need to take action on this if you can. If you're still healthy, you need to take action on this. And we can help you. RetireATLradio.com. You can go there. You can book a discovery call. We can chat about it. If you plan for it, it is so much better. And the reason it's so much better is because the people that actually take the time to get these things in place, they stay at home longer. Mm-hmm. Because there's policies now, there's ways to pay a loved one to come and support you at home. So you can actually have a son or a daughter or a family member or someone you know stay with you at home. You don't have to go to a facility, and they can be paid for that. That's so much better than not having a plan and having to just kind of ride it out and, follow the normal route that other people without a plan follow, which unfortunately a lot of times ends up in like a Medicaid facility. And if this was already a conversation you don't want to have, I promise you that conversation is 10 times worse.
Right.
So take action. Definitely, number one, take action on your long-term care plans. Is there a deadline at the end of the year? No, but there's a health deadline. There is a point in time where getting it becomes not an option, and I don't want that for you, and you don't want that for you. So if that's you, or maybe it's your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, an uncle or an aunt, someone in your ecosphere, is that a word? Ecosphere?
Can be. It is now.
It is now. Someone in your sphere of influence that you feel like the last thing I want to do is watch them struggle through that without a plan. Mm-hmm. Help them take action. RetireATLradio.com. So that's the first thing. We're talking about what? End of year. Like, what are the things you need to do? That's the first thing. The second thing would be, this is the perfect time to get a second opinion on your investment portfolio, because it's so easy when things are easy. And like right now, really the last probably 10 years, it's been pretty easy in the markets. You could have just put some money in some broad-based ETFs, and you could have done really well. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, we get complacent and we stop looking and we just think, oh, it's always going to be like this. This has been really nice. I'm just going to continue the course that I'm on. And so I would just tell you, end of the year is a perfect time to get a second opinion, especially if it's been a while. If you're in one of those boats where, maybe you got an advisor already and you have to reach out to them. If you're in that situation where you got to reach out to them, you've got to be the one who's proactive and schedule. You need a second opinion, because it shouldn't be like that, number one. And that tells me what kind of service you might be getting in some other areas. Sure. So if you're the one that has to be proactive, definitely get a second opinion.
Matt Decker, you've said it before. I've heard Aaron Vincent say it before. You may feel pretty secure about what your portfolio looks like. You may be proud of what you're doing, but you just feel like a number to that big box firm. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with reaching out to the team at the Vincent Financial Group to take advantage of that initial no cost, no obligation second opinion service. Again, reach out at RetireATLradio.com. And before we got started, you mentioned something pretty big happened to NASCAR driver Kyle Busch. Now,
that's right.
The season's behind us. Didn't quite have the year he wanted to. Finished in the top 25, but he lost a lot of money when you traditionally think these NASCAR drivers are raking in the cash. What happened?
Yeah, so Kyle Busch, he came out a week or two ago on Twitter and Facebook and all the places, actually, he and his wife. And they talked about how they had gotten into an investment They called it a scam. They said, watch out for these scams. I wouldn't say it was a scam, but also it could have been. I don't know. Don't know what happened behind the scenes there. But what I do know is they lost an $8.5 million lawsuit tied to an index universal life insurance contract, which a lot of people use. Like wealthy people will use those for a lot of reasons. Number one, you get death benefit for your beneficiaries and your family, but it also builds cash and it doesn't generate 1099s. And if you structure it the right way, you can actually take dollars out of those accounts tax-free.
Right.
It's one of the tax-free vehicles, income tax-free vehicles that exist out there. And so this is very common in higher net worth circles, okay? But what they actually did was, it's a sad story. Years ago, some insurance agents got the idea to borrow money from a bank. So take a loan.
Okay.
And take those loaned out dollars and put it into a life insurance policy. So where Kyle Busch maybe just, if he were to pay out of pocket for a life insurance policy, where the goal was to build cash, like let's be real here, the goal is to build cash. He's probably going to get a return somewhere between like 5 and 7%, but it's going to be tax-free and it's going to be a low risk return.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually pretty compelling. Like just right there, that's pretty compelling. 5 to 7% rate of return on the dollars in a tax-free vehicle with asset protection built into it. That's pretty attractive by itself. But Kyle Busch, if he's being like really aggressive, maybe he can pay like, I don't know, $200,000 a year or $800,000 a year. It doesn't matter what the number is. He can pay a certain amount into that policy out of his cash flow. He makes a lot of money. He can pay a large premium. Well, some people got the idea that, well, hey, what if we just borrowed money from a bank? Kyle Busch has a bunch of assets. He's probably got a bunch of cash sitting around. What if we just collateralize his cash account and instead of paying in $200,000 a year into a life insurance policy, what if we borrow like $2 million a year from a bank and put that money into the life insurance policy? And then instead of a $200,000 policy, he gets a $2 million policy. It's like 10x the leverage. Let's leverage up this life insurance policy. And unfortunately, a lot of times what we see, and we see a lot of these, this is not uncommon and it's not a bad thing necessarily, but where it gets bad, and what he said in his Twitter post was, it was pitched to him as a no-risk investment. Pitched to him as a no-risk investment. And I know for a fact that there are people out there that pitch it that way because I've seen them and I've talked to the people that have been pitched this idea that way, and we have to actually unravel a lot of those. I hate to say it like toot our own horn, but we're a big player in that space. We understand it very well. We're one of the experts. I've been asked to be an expert witness in some of these cases, and so like we know this well, and I know for a fact that he absolutely was pitched that policy as like a no risk, no out of pocket or very little out of pocket cost. And he trusted someone. Surely he had to, right? He trusted someone to give him good information. He probably thought somewhere, I just believe, he had to believe like this feels a little too good to be true. I got to believe he felt that way. Maybe he didn't. And if he didn't, then they did a really good job of convincing him. And then it is a scam, right?
Right.
But he got into it, lost a bunch of money, $8.5 million. And why are we talking about this? The reason we're talking about this is because we just talked about getting a second opinion. When you're about to make huge financial decisions like that, borrowing money to pay into a life insurance policy and you're being told there's no risk involved. If you're about to put a bunch of money into an alternative investment that's not very liquid, where you're being told this is an easy 20% per year, you'd be a fool not to take advantage of this, on and on and on and on and on. You've got to get a second opinion on all kinds of those big transactions that sound too good to be true, because oftentimes, if done incorrectly, it can be too good to be true. Or even worse, it's not too good to be true. Let's assume that Kyle Busch, the policy was working great.
Yeah.
It was actually working. But it was just too big. It was just like it didn't actually fit his needs, and he can't support it anymore, which is not what happened here. But let's just assume that it was working, but because it was too big for what he could actually handle, he has to get out of it and lose a bunch of money, even though it was working.
Mm-hmm.
Like that happens all the time in the alternative space. Put in a bunch of money. It's working, but you don't have access to it.
But it's not all Kyle Busch, though, because the dude's worth $80 million.
Oh, yeah.
So he's got a money manager.
Yep.
I'm sure he has a wealth manager. I'm sure he has 5 different financial advisors.
It's wild.
So who does this fall on?
Well, that's a good question. Man, I would have loved to have been in the room to see who were the people that were advocating for this.
Right.
And why were they advocating for this? And was there anybody out there that was saying, hey, Kyle, this is not for you? I want to know who that person was.
Too many yes men in the room.
Probably too many yes men. And a lot of times in transactions like this, everybody's getting paid.
Yeah.
I hate to say it that way, but like there's 4 people in the room and they're all splitting a big commission. And so they're all incentivized to say like, this is in your best interest. And the sad part is it might have been in his best interest, but not if he thinks it's a risk-free investment. Not if he thinks that it's bulletproof and there's nothing that can go wrong with it. Mm-hmm. There's no world where that's the right move for you when you're going in with incorrect expectations. I'm being told there's no risk. I'm being told that this thing's bulletproof. It doesn't matter if it's working. It's not working. It's not working from the jump at that point.
That's the reason why if it sounds too good to be true, reach out, get that second opinion. Ask the questions. RetireATLRadio.com. That's how you reach out to the team of the Vincent Financial Group, that initial consultation or second opinion, or just to ask the questions. Nothing wrong. We get it every single weekend. People want to know about their 401k fees. We had a question earlier this week about debt. If you have a question about your financial future, we invite you to reach out. RetireATLRadio.com.
Insurance products are offered through the Insurance Business Advanced Planning Group. Vincent Financial Group is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Advanced Planning Group are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Advanced Planning Group and IPW are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be constructed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Vincent Financial Group is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained by sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Vincent Financial Group. This podcast is a paid placement.